playing some Demi for mature skin. So if you are 40, 50 plus, this is going to be geared towards you. But really and truly, Demi is for all skin types, but I really want to focus on the mature ladies. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. I'll be glad to help you out. If you are interested in getting color match for any of these colors, I can send you a detailed how-to for your skin. Just go to yes.altheamatchme.com and I'll be glad to help you out. If you want to grab any of these colors to play in, you can go to altheagobble.com. So hey there, I am just going to play in some colors and do a really quick look for you guys, because with mature skin, it's about adding a bunch of color to your skin because we've lost it. As we age, we lose collagen, we lose volume in our skin, so then a lot more translucency happens, and we see more blood flow underneath the skin, and any kind of shadows of veins, those kinds of things are going to show up a lot more, and we lose some of our color and look more ashy and sallow, and we really need to add that color back in. Hey mama, hope your dinner was good. I'm just going to pull out the tins as I use them, and I'm going to be pretty quick here. So I've got some natural light left here. All right, let me know where you're watching from. I'm going to start with this orange, and I love using this orange 5 for me. There is another orange, it's 07, that's more for medium skin tone. If you have a little more color, that's really good. I can actually sculpt with the 07 very nicely. It's just a little more, I just need a little bit of warmth where I have lost some color, and I'm using the shape brush. And I'm actually, guys, look at this tin. I just ordered me a new one. I've had it for 2 years. So they really last you a long time. And I really want to talk about the technique on how I apply Demi. I am using a silky brush called the shape brush, and I am just gliding it across the skin. And unlike typical foundation that's opaque, you're not going to see it and blend. I am like literally staining my skin and just adding some color. All right, so this is what we call toning first. And I'm just like to give an overall coloring of the whole face. And look, I'm going to do this a little different than I have before. I want to add some color. This is great for summertime. To this area right here on my cheek to give me some structure here. You will notice when you start touching your skin, you're going to get a little more of blood flow to the surface, and it may change color on you as you are applying. So that's the reason why you just kind of go with it and go and trust the color, let the skin calm down. Every time I apply my makeup, about 10 minutes afterwards, after the skin is finished being touched, it calms down, and it just looks so good. I just love how it just looks like you can't, it's undetectable on the skin. You can't see it. Lost my words, guys. I'm sorry. It's a long day. Hi there, Mama. You're 6749 Mobile Road. And I'm just adding color right in here, side of my nose. This is great for summer too, to add that extra color in. So just really added some depth of color all over. What I love about Demi is I can really add it to my neck. Yeah, I lost my words. We've been a field day all day today. So I've been outside all day, screaming and yelling, cheering the kids on. We're a little competitive. So my coworker Tori and I are a little bit competitive. So it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So that is a little bit of the 05 added color, higher saturation in areas where I want to add some color. I like to use the orange. Why the orange? Because ashiness, sallow, pale skin is the lighter blue on the spectrum of colors. It's more in those light blues, and so since this is a high saturation, it's going to add that color in and cancel out that blue. Really love it, and you can't see it on the skin. All right, so I am going to do a little bit of 03. It's a lower saturation of the orange because I really just want to balance some added shadow. That's just right here and right there and right there in that part of my jaw where I'm more hollow. Okay, very shadowy right there, and that just tones it down just a little bit. Love it. That's 03. And now I'm going to wipe off my brush on the, we have a cleaning tile. You need this. And you clean off the color. Since that was orange and I want to use a red next, I want to clean it off in between. I am going to use a color called Red 3. I love this color too. This is going to add color but yet balance the muddy brown right underneath my eyes. Okay, so I love to use this Red 3. And I just kind of swap it right there. I mean, look at the difference. That those freckles that are along that area, it's just kind of dull, muddy brown. And I just like to tone that. Same thing, get melasma here. We get kind of green here, especially if you're in the medium fair range. If you're in the darker skin range, use something like 03 or the Y01 to tone down the blueness right in there. I am more green because I'm more fair. So just right in there around the mouth. But you could also do the Red 3 and play around with it. I think get you some reds, orange, and yellows and play. You can't go wrong. All right, that is giving me the overall balance to my skin. I actually today walked out. I did filter this out a little bit and put my brows on and some mascara, and I left for work that day because I kept reapplying sunscreen, and I just patted it on throughout the day because we were outside. So this is how I left it today. Super easy look. It's more toned. I just filtered out just maybe a couple of things and I'm done. All right, so I want to add a little bit of flush to my cheeks because I'm not fortunate enough to have some flushing cheeks, and I like to add that back to me. That is a youthful aspect, is some flushing cheeks. And I am going to use a color called Red 5. Love that. You can use the violet reds, but something that's very in the pink range on me, but I also like to use the violets as well. You got lots of room to play. I just highly recommend you go to something very saturated, all right, very vibrant. I'm going to use this Red 5. I'm going to use the wash brush, and I'm going to put a flushing where I want a natural flush. So I want it kind of up here and up. Now I already put some of that 05 there, so this is going to make like a red-orange, which is fine. Those two colors go well together. And I'm going to even go right here at my temples, just a little bit, just so it looks more fresh. I'm very hollow there. I have more veins there, more translucency as we age. But this just kind of gives me, I can't even talk, guys. I think I've used all my words today with the kiddos, cheering them on. It just gives a nice warm flush. Really like that. And this is also going to give me some natural definition there at the same time. So that's the Red 3. Now I'm going to add my brows. I'll do my eyes, my lips, and the very last thing we do is filter. I could sculpt a little bit, just a little. Let's do a little bit of sculpt first. So I am going to use, my favorite thing ever is the sculpts on the Demi line. I'm going to use the NO-1, and I'm going to use the small end here of the wash brush, and I'm just going to do a little there and there. And I'm just going to go about halfway up my cheek to kind of push that in and lift this up. And the orange helps with the excess shadow there. So it gives me a little bit there. And I'm actually going to use a small brush on that one. I'm going to do a little on my forehead, just a little. It is a lot of fun to play in Demi and to play in those colors. The learning curve is trying to see it differently than you do opaque product. You get that instant satisfaction putting on an opaque product, and it just literally, you see it going on, and you can cover something up, and you feel like you're mastering something. And with Demi, the change comes on you softly. So you're just learning to see the color and play with the color on the skin. I like to put it right here on my jawline and go right down in here where I'm very fair. So this is going to add color and add some sculpt at the same time. All right, I'm going to do my eyes really quick. No, I'm going to do my nose really quick. All right, I'm going to use this in O-1. I'm going to use the blur brush, and I'm going to warm up that shadow. I have a very textured nose with large pores, so that's going to be shadow. Okay, and shadow is blue, and the opposite of blue is orange, so this works really nicely. And I don't really put it like equal amounts. Hey, Leanne, isn't it Leanne? Or Lee? It's Lee. Sorry. And I'm just really just bouncing and applying it with this silky brush. Now, do the brushes make a difference? Absolutely. These are silky. They're have a fine ends. They're not frayed on the bristles. So it's just going to pick up small amounts of product. Leanne, that's what I thought. I have to see your name pop up on my text. And it's like, okay, I know who that is. And sometimes the handles on Instagram, I'm thinking, is that right? Because they have all these different names. Now, I also like doing this. See how this has got very little color there? I'm going to use this and add that color there, and look at the difference that makes. So that kind of goes against what we typically do with typical makeup, is we want to wipe that out and make it super bright. But I'm adding color there, and I'm going to add color there, and it helps balance that differentiation between dark and light. And as we age, we get a lot of ups and downs around our eyes. And so you see that different, you know, you have a wrinkle because you have dark and light next to each other. So I am, instead of making it brighter, I am adding color to balance between the dark and the light. And it seems to make less work filtering underneath your eyes than before. So I've kind of learned that recently, and I really love it. I'm going to just continue using this sculpt here, this NO-1, and I'm just going to warm up above my crease just a little. And where I do have excess shadow, that's going to be blue. You can do different looks with your eyes. I've played with so many different ways using the Demi correctors on my eyes, and I love every way. So it's not as hard pressed. The difference between doing this and typical eyeshadow is you're just placing it where you want to change color and where you need light definition, instead of putting on an eyeshadow look and layering the product. It's not layered at all. Okay, I think I like that. Now I'm going to do a little bit of sculpt on my lips, and I'll do some on my top lash line. I am going to get the, this is the bright brush. This isn't just black because it's one that the company gave us for incentives. Also, while you're here, if you're ever interested to ask about the artist program and what I do and how it can fit into your life, I'm glad to help you. Just ask away. Now this is NV+1. I love this one. It's my favorite. It's a sculpt, a neutral violet, and I like to use it many different ways, but I'm going to add a little depth of that violet brown It's basically what this is like a purple brown to my lash line. And it just gives me more depth. Try this as well for mature eyes. Give a little more depth in that outer corner, right in there, to recess that just a little. Some ladies even use this for brows. You can do that too, but I use other things for my brows, totally fine. I'm just kind of a little stingy and I like to use my Demi on my face, but I have used the NV for brows too. I'm going to now use the NR, the neutral red, on my lips, and I'm going to clean my brush off on that cleaning tile. So this is the NR, and I am going to do a little definition around my lips. So mature ladies, it's hard to do lip liner. Can I get an amen on people that have lines around their mouth? It is very difficult to put liner and hard lines around our mouth area because it just adds more depth to the lines. But we definitely need some definition because we have lost, amen, we have lost color because our lips have collapsed, loss of collagen and volume. So what happens, we kind of get like little pale patches around the perimeter of our lips. And a lot of ladies I've done in person, the lips get a lot of blue in them because you lose collagen, you lose volume, so you see a lot of the veinage that's in your lips because this is nothing but a muscle. My dog sees a squirrel. So I love, I'm getting a lot of amens. I'm glad I'm not alone, but I love using the Demi correctors to add color, and I've done this different ways, so don't think it's hard pressed one way. It's according to what look you want. I love using the RV7. I'll use a little bit of that in just a minute to play on adding more color that's already my lip color, so make it more deeper. But I always use a sculpt in these pale places, but I'm not overlining. It always, overlining on mature lips shows in person. It looks great on camera, it looks great for pictures, but it shows in person and you can see where they put the liner and where their natural lip is. And to me, I don't want that because when you're talking to people, they're going to look at your mouth as you're talking, and that is just going to be something it's going to draw more attention to it, and I don't want that. But the Demi sculpts and the Demi correctors are like tints, and so it's it's a lot more natural because it's not going to add texture to these textured lips already. So I'm just going to, right here in the corners, you can see where it's more pale, and here and right there. If you struggle with this part, and I know there's a lot of trends to kind of add color there, is do this and pull the lip out and find, it's hard to talk and just do that. Right here. See the lip? And then it gives you a little more. I don't like doing a line like this, okay? And then very gingerly. Now, if you have a lot of deep lines there, I would suggest skip this. But in this little spot here, if you're able, do a little bit to add some depth to that. If you're not, you can do it this way. See these two parts of your lip? If you have those, kind of connect them a little bit. Go back and forth to it, and it's going to give you some definition there. Okay, so now, let me put that back. I'm going to use the RV7, and I just looked this afternoon, and it's still in stock. I'm telling you, grab this one. It's going to light. I've had this one. Once you look at it, I've had it for 2 years, and it's so saturated in color, guys. You would never use this up. I've had this for 2 years, and I'm good to go for 2 more. I am going to use a small brush. I've got an extra little spot brush here. If I can locate it, right, no flitter. Okay, I'll just use this one. I have a black one I really like, but I don't see it at the moment. It's blending into my palette. There it is, I found it. Okay, I'm gonna use this one, and I'm gonna use the RV7 and the little spot brush. All right, and I'm going to draw a line there, and in the corner, I'm tapping the color on. I've gotten away from wearing a lot of lipstick, and I'm going to add definition here. I want a lot of depth and color there because my lips, I just end up liking a little tint and a little gloss. I'm going to take this here and soften that up just a little. And literally, guys, that's all I'm going to do, and I'll put on some lip gloss. I've got some lip conditioner right here. Lasts so long. And you see what that did? It just kind of makes it look more fuller here in the middle. This, like, because I added color there, it recesses it a little bit, and it gives me more volume here and there. Love it. All right, now let's do brows really quick. Gotta have your brows, girls. I'm using Indigo Contour and the line brush. And I like to get my arch going. I've lost it a little bit. My eyebrows are microbladed. I literally have no hair from here over. So the microblading has faded some. But it's nice that I still have a little bit there that I can use it as a marker. But the arch part is gone, so I have to add that back. And then I brush it forward just a little bit. I have used the brow wax. I like using that. But for tonight, we're just going to, sometimes I don't get time. And I'm trying to be quick for you guys. Any questions? Any questions? Ask, please. All right. Find my arch. I want the arch to go right here. I like to start at my tail. How about you guys? I mean, seriously, a lot of ladies that I've done in person, the tail, as we age, disappears. It's like the first thing to go. And to me, is the most important. Because once you get that tail on there and finish it up, you get this nice little lift. So nice. And I'm doing this looking in my phone. I really probably should look in the mirror. But I think that's okay. All right, brows done, lips done. I got a little bit too much color there. All right, now let's filter out. Let's work on the eyes a little bit. I'm going to start with Y01. I'm going to go to what is the deepest and identify that, the darkest, and what is that color. So this is very blueberry looking. So I'm going to use the Y01. How do I know it's blueberry? It may not look like very blue, purpley blue, but understand what's right here around your eye, okay? This is where all the blood flow is going to be, right across here. This is where all the vessels and the blood vessels and capillaries are all close to the skin. If you think about it, when you flush, when you get red, this is where a lot of this happens first. So this is where the blood vessels are closer to the skin. I'm 52, so I've definitely have aged, and you lose volume and collagen here in these areas. So it's going to show more of the blood flow. Because this is the under eye and the bones here, and this is just flesh and blood vessels and oil and water, and it's very translucent. Hi, how are you? And so what happens, you get a lot of shadow. So shadow, blue, blood vessels, red, so that makes purple. So that is definitely how I translate that as being more of a purple, okay? So I just barely take the bright brush, barely tap into here, and I'm going to over exaggerate how loosely that I want you to use the brush and applying it. By patting on product and then blending it out, you're wasting product and you're not letting the beauty of Demi show through, and eventually is just going to be super shiny, too much product, and you're going to be unhappy with it, and you probably end up looking pasty. I am just going to attack. Yes, graduation has to be coming up soon, doesn't it? You notice how I just attacked that purple in there. I just hand loosey-goosey. This is not put on the product and blend it out kind of concept. All right in that little outer corner, we get tear stains, like your dogs do. And most times, that is a purple brown, and this helps that. This yellow in there is going to help that, and the orange is going to take care of the shadow. All right, now I'm just going to, like a little bump, a healing bump. They're going to have ups and downs. The way you do your brush is turn it at different angles. I'm just toning that area a little bit. I will have to go back into to it with another color. And because you have a little bump, you're going to have multiple colors in it. And my chin's a little red, which is never really red. It's never really red, guys. It's violet because it's blood flow, okay? And it's going through skin, so it's going to create shadows because all the blood vessels are in different layers of the skin, so they're going to be shadowed, so it's going to create purple. For it to be red, it would have to be fire engine red. So you don't need any green. You just need some yellow orange. Go for the orange. Leave the green behind. Oh yeah. And now I'm going to take that same color right in here where I have broken capillaries, and it's shadowed just in a couple of spots. I want to tone that, and notice my brush matches the size of the area that I'm toning. Alrighty, guys, look at that. Okay, now I'm going to switch to a little tiny brush because to filter out any other distractions. And I apologize to have to look over and grab a brush. Okay, so I am going to use an 03 because I'm going to take out whatever is the darkest distractions, and these are going to be tiny areas that we do this. So you're going to go within a distraction, which mostly under eyes as we age is always our problem. And you see I've done a lot with the toning, but you can see I have some added shadow, and I can tone that down just a little bit. I'm going to use this 03 to what's dark. And typically in here in this crevice, this is a shadow. Shadows are blue, but there's also probably a couple of little freckles in there, which are going to be brown. See if I can zoom in and get back in. Get nice and close. All right, so let's use this 03 tiny little artist brush, and I'm just going to dot within that dark area and go to the area that's the darkest, and look how much that took care of just doing that. This little area, I'm just going to touch the darkest point within that, and if it does this, okay, look, that means you got too much product. Don't sit there and pat and try to blend it out. Go ahead and tap that out because you got too much on your hand. On your face. Guys, that is like major. All right, let's do this one over here, and each eye is going to be different. And this right here is always darker, and it's actually what it is just a loss of volume. And notice how I'm not going to make a line in that section. I'm going to attack those dark little brown spots. And I know it seems like, okay, that's a lot of work. You're thinking, wouldn't it be easier to put something back? I'm actually touching less on my skin, and you get quite quick with it. And so instead of worrying about the entire face, I'm just going to what's darkest, and I end up having to do less work. So you see that right in there? See how this eye is a little different than that one? That's going to happen. That means there's just a couple little dark freckles within that, giving the suggestion of a dark circle. Okay, this little area right here, notice how I'm just going to the darkest point within that area. I'm going to use a mirror for this right here. So I just put it back in my palette. Same color, 03. There's, I don't know what that is here. Let me get that. Okay, I'm going to go back to 03. And I am going to, try not to talk, touch the darkest point within that. You have to turn side to side, and you're going to have to turn your brush when you get like a little bump. You may have to turn your brush a different angle. And look at that, it's gone. Because we are attacking the color is in the exact area, just the darkest point within it. I have a very textured chin. Sometimes some days it's a good chin, and some days it's a bad chin. All right, I'm going to these age spots, just attacking the darkest ones in that area. See, that looks kind of red, so I'm going to flip over to the Y01 and just kind of touch and go. There we go. Love it. Almost done. Okay, how about veins? Do y'all struggle with veins? Let me show you. This one right here bugs me so much. Do any of you have veins that struggle, that show through on your skin? I have one here, I have one there, and I have this one. And they just show through this translucent skin that I talked about earlier, just about when we age. Anybody? Don't even worry about it? Y'all have struggle with veins? All right, I want to show you. So this vein, I'm not going to follow it. I'm going to target the dark points right here. That is what it is a shadow, where the veins like this on top of the skin, and it creates those little ups and downs and hills and valleys. So I am just going to target the shadow part of it. And look, it actually takes out, see, this is a dark point in it. And here. Okay, so the vein didn't go anywhere. The vein is still there, but I took out a lot of the shadow of it. Turn side to side to see the different light in it, and bingo. All right, now I'm going to use, last bit is my favorite, is red 1. Right in here where we get sun, right in there where it collapses, the skin just kind of gathers as we age, like little curtain folds. And so you're going to have a little collection of pigment right here. So I like to take the red one on your medium to fair skin. It's typically you're going to need some kind of red. Red one, red orange one. When you're in the medium skin tone, I would get to red orange one. When you're in the richer skin tones, you can stick with 03 or the Y01. So I'm going to use the red one, same brush, wiped it off on my cleaning tile. And I'm just going to target right in there. That's a little bit of pigment that gives a suggestion of a dark circle. And right on here, you'll get some, and you just kind of dot it and go. Same thing here. It's a little collection of skin. It's so fine, you don't even realize it's there, but what it does is add to that dark circle. And there's a couple little lights. So anything that's muddy brown, light brown. Now look, if you see that, if you see something like that, don't try to blend it out. Just tap it away. Don't put it in other areas. You don't blend it. You only wanted that red one right there on that brown pigment. You can also use this here on your lips where if you have freckles like me when I was younger, I ended up with a lot of freckles that ran together, and it creates this like little melasma look right there. So red, and they're light, they're not super dark. Okay, all right, something a little fun to do. I like to take that little bit of red one and take out those dark freckles right there. Okay, I'm completely done. That wasn't so bad. I already have mascara on. Okay, what do you think? And feels amazing. It's completely weightless. I do not have to set it with powder or setting spray. I can wear it as long as I want. Its longevity is absolutely amazing. I reapplied sunscreen all day today for what we were doing outside with the kiddos, and I just pat sunscreen on, and my makeup was still there for the day. And it's completely undetectable on the skin, and it looks like my skin. So it's a lot of fun to play in. So for you mature ladies, oily skin, you can do a primer, but I would do a primer that has no color in it. I highly recommend, no need to set it, no. Skincare, that's what I love about Demi, is your skincare is going to be your primer. If you are oily, like with anything, when you change what you normally do, you're probably going to have a period there where you're going to be a little shiny until your skin calms down. The great thing about Demi, there's so little on your skin that your skin care and what you're doing, if you don't wear any makeup at all on those days, is typically how your skin is going to do with Demi. It will take time to adjust, but most of my skin, I'd say about 85% of my skin is showing. So I left most of it untouched, and this is translucent, so it allows a lot of your skin to show through. So for oily skin, because there's less on your skin, it actually will adjust a lot quicker and probably do a lot better than products. But if your skin is already used to like a lot of products being on to help dry it out, you will have a time period to adjust to your skin's like, wait a second, we don't need to produce all this oil because she's not using powders or anything to dry out the oil, so it takes time to adjust to it. But that's like with anything. I don't use a primer. I just use my moisturizer from the skincare with Saint that I use, and that's it. Or the sunscreen. Like I wore sunscreen today underneath, and then I reapplied throughout the day. So yeah, no need to set it. That's one of my favorite things is no powders, and that's because there's so little on the skin. It's not going to shift and move like other products will, and you're only putting color where you actually need it. All right, any other questions? Well, I appreciate you guys being here. If you are interested in Demi, just let me know. I can create a plan for you. And what I do is create you graphics and videos and tell you exactly how to apply it. Once your product comes in, we will troubleshoot, go back and forth, send me before and afters, and then you will be a master. All of my ladies who have done that with me, and we go back and forth a few times just to readjust because we're going to use a picture. They're just head over heels with it like I am. All right, I appreciate you guys being here, and if you have any questions about the artist program and how to do what I do and how I can help you do that, just let me know. I'll be glad to share it with you. I appreciate you guys joining in here. I appreciate that, Daniel. Hope you buy some makeup. Be glad to sell you some. All right, guys, have a great evening.